Hello, everyone. Welcome to GT Time. I'm your host and moderator, Kyle Bossman, and joining us, as always, is our uniquely talented and knowledgeable panel, including Brandon Jones.
That's me.
He's back. It's Daniel Bloodworth
Hey.
and Michael Damiani.
What's up?
Daniel Bloodworth, you're joining us again.
Yeah, Ian's got a lot of fans.
He does. A lot of
good
comments
job.
about adding a fifth chair. I don't know if we're even physically capable of doing that. We'll figure maybe.
Well, then we
something out
need to
someday.
get a different shooter, and yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly.
The Ian's are shooters. So.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna have more guest stars, and we're gonna have to keep getting more chairs.
Yeah. Then someone else appears, and then we'll need that person every week. Daniel, it's good to have you back.
Yeah.
You seem excited to be back, even.
I somehow have energy today, even though I totally passed out last night. So.
TGS was crazy. We had a crazy TGS
Yeah, I missed
week.
most of TGS stuff.
It was bizarre, dude. It was. I guess we were only halfway through TGS at this point.
I got my bets right though.
You did.
Nice, all of them.
Both of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Big deal. Big whoop. It was not on my team. But anyway, TGS was a lot of live streams this year, which I thought was pretty cool. It was constant live streaming, and a lot of it
I did
was,
watch the weird Sony Asia live stream thing.
Yes, that was like a repeat of the one they had
Yeah,
already
it was a
done.
repeat conference,
Yeah.
and they had one cameraman with no camera director, and so I was just constantly watching him try to readjust his shot. I felt so bad for that guy. There's
Yeah.
not much he could have done about it.
Yeah, and basically it wasn't really well communicated what that was going to be. And yeah, that was strange. You know, a lot of TGS was still not well communicated. It seemed better than last year. It seemed like we had more access to it than usual, and there were bigger news to talk about. So that was cool. TGS was awesome.
Does it feel like a trend? Do you think next TGS is gonna be like that?
Yeah. I think.
Well, I want to see them get to actually live streaming real press conferences at TGS, not 2 weeks before. Because, I mean, what did Microsoft actually do? Did they actually do a live stream conference?
They did some live streaming, but they didn't do a live stream conference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to guess that they probably had a conference, but it was just one of those things where it was like it's in a meeting room and nobody's allowed to film it and that kind of thing. So.
Yeah. Well, Microsoft doesn't care about that market.
One of the things we've been talking about last week that I'm actually curious about is was TGS big because I feel like people will make announcements for E3 because it's E3. It's not I mean, we've kind of factored in that it's either May or June, and so that's the time of the year when we want to be ready to talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think we got so many awesome announcements because it was TGS or because it was September? And it was just time to make these announcements. It was.
I think
time,
there's a
before
certain
the big holiday rush. It was time post those E3 announcements.
There's a
or
certain hometown pride about making your Final Fantasy 15 announcement at home. I definitely think that it is because of TGS.
Cool.
And
I
I would
don't
love
know.
to see that continue.
Yeah, and well, I think that's one of the challenges too, is now that there are so many events that, TGS is last. So it's what are we going to save for TGS, and what is actually going to make sense to save for TGS?
Yeah.
Whereas before, it was E3, it was TGS. That was basically it. Now we have PAX, we have Gamescom, we have Comic-Con that has so much gaming stuff going on at it.
VGX?
Yeah. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
it's a
Jeff
thing.
has always, brokered those exclusives to show up there, even if it's stuff that we'll only see the stupid logo of, like Skyrim.
Yeah, that was pretty enormous, though, actually.
Yeah, I mean,
That was
Batman
during the
huge.
VGAs. Yeah. No Man's Sky. We're gonna look back and say, "Oh, that was revealed at VGX." That's so cool. We've been talking about video games really early this week. That was just part of the intro. That was part of us warming up.
That's
Go to
good.
video
Who'd have
games too fast. Yeah, we still have a little house cleaning to do. A bunch of corrections. So begin corrections music. Oh boy. First one, very embarrassing on my part. I didn't know Don Pardo died. He wasn't just replaced on SNL. It was just that man died.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Sorry.
Okay.
That was a quick conversation. Yeah, I brought that up.
Brandon, I know you like it when they're directed toward you. We got one directed toward you
Yes.
directly. You said Rockstar always announces a game and then releases it pretty soon after.
Sure.
And everyone said, what about Agent?
Well, yeah, but that wasn't a game. That was never. We never got a trailer for that. I mean, the first time we got an announcement of Grand Theft Auto 4 and Grand Theft Auto 5, it was a trailer. The
Yeah.
first time that they were put this thing on Amazon, put it on Metacritic, make an official notation for this game. It's called this. It's not called Grand Theft Auto, Los Santos. It's called Grand Theft Auto 5. And we're oh, okay, we know that. Whereas Agent was hey, and there's this other thing kind of that we're working on. You know,
All right,
like,
everybody,
whereas
so-
we never do we
But
get an agent trailer?
But that's the thing, though, right?
Like a weird
Rockstar-
cinema or something.
Rockstar didn't announce Agent. Like it was Jack Tretton, right?
Yeah, with just a big dumb
It was
logo behind
it was just an exclusive play
Right.
for something that may or may not really exist.
L.A. Noire is another good example where like that's something I would bring up, that like they announced that a long time ago, but again, it wasn't their bread and butter. It wasn't like a homebrewed project that only they worked on internally at Rockstar North.
Right.
You
That
know.
whole team
It
bond.
was something that they were like,
Yeah.
we're also kind of involved in this, but like Max Payne, Grand Theft Auto, Midnight Club. I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of what their other.
Probably Red Dead. They were really tight about Red Dead until
Yeah.
it was ready to go. So that is not a correction. That is a clarification.
Sure. I mean, I'll accept a correction. I don't get in a fight with anybody.
I'm not letting you accept that correction. 2 releases of Twilight Princess, I said were months apart. They were actually weeks apart. It wasn't actually that much of a gap. 3 weeks at most, and that
Are
was
you
in
talking
the
about
US
the GameCube
market.
and the Wii?
Yep.
Oh yeah. It was-
Damiani was right. I corrected him, and I made an incorrect correction. I'm so sorry about this, Michael Damiani. Final Fantasy Type 0 did come out after the 3rd birthday. So that is Tabata's most recent game.
it's actually good, right? You played it.
Yep. Too bad, Kyle. The 3rd birthday was bad.
Right. What I think most of the problems with 3rd birthday is like it's stupid, right? And not necessarily the game itself, but just like, what is going on? Why did they do this to this character?
Kind of like forgot the game. I remember there was some kind of like transportation mechanic, like Mind Jack mechanic. Like Mind Jack was later, I believe.
Right, yeah.
And they did that, and I was like, okay, this seems kind of cool. But then, like the story kept having, like, I don't remember. It had something
We're
either
gonna
like
get some more corrections right here.
I'm gonna save myself. It was either alternate times or like alternate realities. Like you were able to jump back and redo things or something. This has been so long. Like it was just really confusing to me. So
Yeah, I don't remember
If there's a
it either,
correction,
and I was following that
If
game
it
for a
wasn't
while.
confusing, that would be the correction then, because it was like I remember it being confusing, and I was like, what?
I just remember
I don't
you,
get what's
you,
going
like,
on half
you
this
tatter
game.
her clothes off, and I was like, that's cheap.
Oh yeah.
Don't do that to her.
Did that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that
like
happened.
that's how you show damage is like how tattered
Oh
her clothes are.
yeah. Oh man, that game.
Yeah,
So much
that's
stuff is
cheap.
wrong with it.
And then final thing, I did some incorrect math 2 weeks ago. It didn't change who won, but I was like speaking math out loud about how many points Daniel Bloodworth was off. It was the comments. It was the comments on the Destiny
Okay.
update of the week. You won the bet regardless. And corrections music. Wow, can you imagine? That was probably like 10 minutes of corrections music.
You say that most times. More often than not, you'll be like, "Wow,
That is
we
a
were
record.
listening to that music
We're gonna
all the
have to
time."
correct the
When you
correction
picked the
music like
music, you chose the format of the show. You're totally responsible for that, and yet you comment on it like, "Wow, that crazy thing happened." It's completely 120% your fault, Kyle.
Those are 5 corrections. That's a record.
That's a lot of corrections.
That's a lot of corrections.
Have you? Are you like a slave to corrections, or do you see corrections sometime and you're like, eh?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
And more than ever, because we spend so much time on corrections, people are like rabid for them. So
I was
they're
gonna
just
say,
like, well, and it's like, okay, come on.
Do you have an increasing trend? Of
Yeah. Lots of
corrections?
comments are corrections.
You created a monster, Kyle.
I've
Okay,
created-
it's your fault.
That's kind of fun though. It's fun to point at us. If I were a commenter, I'd love to just point at us and say,
I do,
you're
yeah.
wrong.
I do love clarifying stuff. Usually about like Rockstar and stuff.
So we have a very short episode this week. We're recording early in the week. That's why this episode arrives early. That's why this will be a shorter runtime. Basically,
His run sheet doesn't even have a 2, right? Or did you wait? You actually sent it out?
no, I did not send this out.
Okay.
I drafted the email and then didn't even bother sending it out. We're at a very condensed schedule today. We got to shoot other stuff. Blood's got to raise review. Let's talk about Titan being canceled.
Yeah.
Pretty big news.
This is really big news because I don't think this was a game that even had the title Titan, right? This is all something that's just like, oh, you know.
Do you think that would be a big game, Titan? Do you think? Do you think that would be a giant project that a lot of people are working on? Titan, perhaps?
Yeah.
Right.
I think that would be a big thing.
Oh
I mean,
my
it's
gosh.
like people aren't even going to bother with the puns. You know, like Titan shock or Titan announcement or what a Titanic mistake. Titanic.
Titanic mistake is fine.
Titanic.
Wow.
Dr. Acula.
Wow. No,
So
I think
They've
it's,
done it before, so it could so easily be not a crazy announcement. You're just like, oh, there's Blizzard, man. There's
Yeah.
the how many pound gorilla? 8,000, 80,000? You know, it's like they can do whatever the hell they want.
well, I kind of feel like what somebody was in one of those articles. They were suggesting that the reevaluation was really when it was canceled. They just now announced it,
Right.
and I wonder if it's like, okay, Hearthstone's making a lot of money now. We can safely
Yeah.
say that Titan is not happening, and people won't get too like weirded out by it.
So do you think it's like like they're looking at their investors and they're like, this is now probably a good time to
I think
let
so.
everyone know?
Yeah, because they framed it that way, right? They talked about like, we want to make smaller projects and just focus on things that we're passionate about, and Hearthstone is kind of the proof in the pudding of that. It's like it's not, oh my gosh, what are they doing? It's like, oh yeah, this is working for us. Okay, this will take less resources and be more profitable.
Because it was interesting with this announcement that Titan was canceled. It came from the CEO and vice president of Blizzard. That's pretty crazy. That's like a big thing for those two people to come out and say this game's canceled, because there was clearly a huge investment there, not only in time, but in money, and just this was going to be it. This was our hope. This was like, oh, once WoW finally dies, this is going to be what everyone plays next.
Yeah. Well, one of the composers I follow is like, he made the comment on Twitter of like, he just can't even imagine, and I'm in the same boat. Like, how do you think about working on a project for 7 years and then have nothing to show for it because it's completely under wraps?
Yeah. I mean, it happens, I guess, a lot. I think never on this scale. This is probably the biggest cancellation of all time.
Well, you have your experience to show for it, like
Yeah.
all that art you drew made you better as an artist. All those ideas that you had will inspire you to work on other projects.
Right, but I mean, we put out a couple dozen projects a week. Like, I don't
Oh,
even
yeah,
know what
no,
it's
it's a
like
totally- yeah.
to work on a 7-year project.
Yeah.
Or a 1-year project.
Yeah.
Totally different thing.
Yeah, and to have it trashed is also very bizarre. That no one said, we're going to try to find what was fun with Titan and move that forward. It's like, it's all gone.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I mean, the Kotaku article kind of made it sound like pieces of it may be whatever's redirected.
So
but-
should we talk about what Titan was before we move forward? Because the game
should
itself.
Michael Damiani say something?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So it was like what it was. It sounded like a lot of it. Well, I only read the catchphrase. I was like, it's going to take place on Earth. There are going to be zones like there's going to be the west coast of the U.S. There's going to be Russia. There's going to be South America. And I was like, oh, this sounds familiar. It sounds like a game that just came out.
What game?
No,
what
except
game?
that game only has Russia.
Yeah.
So the game only has Russia.
And
All
the
right.
city. And the
So
city.
Russia got transplanted from Titan into Destiny. So the Russian level lives on. Everyone, you're playing a piece of Titan right now. Now I don't know. Like, I mean, it would be nice, like you saying it taking 7 years, and that not just the fact that if you worked on it, you don't have something to you can't really talk about it. Other than this one little bit of details we got from the Kotaku report, I wonder how long it's going to take to see something of it. Like, it's going to be 5 years, it's going to be 10 years before someone decides to go, hey, like a Mama Robotnik thread on NeoGAF, I'm sorry if it's a he or she, I don't know.
That's
they
fine.
go and they find all the artwork and stuff. It's like some people eventually post it on their LinkedIn profiles or their DeviantArts or whatever, and it's like, oh, look, this was like Titan artwork. Oh, from that MMO project from Blizzard. Puts it together like this is what it was going to look like. It's like, or here's that leaked concept video. I was like, oh man, I want to see that.
I'm very curious because there's this it felt like it was very confusing trying to assess what the art style was from those descriptions, and I would just like to see what it looked like.
Sounds like some almost Pixar-esque, it said like Team Fortress 2 art style, which
Right.
was the opposite of what I was expecting from what this game would be. It kind of makes sense because, like WoW, it's like we got to accommodate a wide range of computers that can run different games, and it has to age. And so, yeah, I guess that art style makes sense. Team Fortress 2 still looks good.
Well, it's an interesting kind of trend now. Like WildStar looks like that. Battleborn kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
They're definitely. I don't know. Once we hit Ratchet and Clank on PS3, I thought it was kind of like the peak of maybe not the peak, and we're still we're obviously still peaking every year creatively in the games industry, but surprised to see that applied to so many things. Especially since World of Warcraft was so cartoony, and that's what helped it, live for as long as it did because it had this very distinct style. It's like we're not trying to look realistic. So yeah, I'm surprised they did that out of the gate. I guess also too because it's an MMO, you're kind of settling on we don't have to make this super detailed. This wall doesn't have to have all these little intricate wood patterns on it. We can just make it red, put a shadow, done. So it runs faster. You can make the world bigger, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I just would have liked to have seen something from that for how long it had been in development. But I think the bigger thing here is that this was supposed to be the project that was going to replace WoW.
Right.
This game for the past decade that was the biggest thing in video games. Even if you didn't play it, you knew what the hell WoW was. And as WoW winds down, who knows how long? It's probably gonna be around for like years, probably decades. Just slowly dwindling, and before people go on private servers or whatever to try and preserve it, like they've done with EverQuest. Actually, do they still have public servers for the original EverQuest? I have no idea.
Yeah, I think EverQuest 1 is still up.
Yeah,
so.
but people
Yeah.
and people will find a way. People will find a way to keep that stuff running because those fans are so passionate and dedicated. This was supposed to replace WoW, and now it's not happening. And they also said we'd rather. We're not saying no to ever working on an MMO again, but we'd rather focus on these other passion projects. To me, it's is this more a statement about how much money it takes to develop an MMO now, and are they really worth it anymore? Is there just a different way people need to go with this? The other way has been free to play, but those games seem to fizzle out pretty quickly. It's like the birth of a star, bright, and then all of a sudden or not the death of a star. Sorry, I'm really bad today. I'm trying to. Kyle's correction statement is getting in my head now. I'm making a bunch of mistakes.
Don't even worry about the correction.
So yeah, it's brilliant for a second, and then it kind of fizzles out.
Absolutely, that happens to a lot of free-to-play games.
And the ones that are success, have maintained any kind of success, 14 had to have an abysmal launch, and then by some miracle got a second chance, and it took, so add all that development time, look how long it took to actually make a decent MMO again, and how much money it probably costs. Not that many companies have that money to sink into it, and not that many companies they've seen the trend now. They're this isn't maybe worth it anymore.
How is 14 doing at sustaining its audience? Is it still kind of leveled off?
It seems to still be steadily growing. Their little
Growing even.
Their homepage said over 2.3 million players or something, and now it just recently updated to now over 2.5 million. Or
That's
whatever.
a big deal, actually.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I have a feeling that it's going to cap maybe at 3 at the most, unless just the next expansion is just amazing and people just decide to care about it even more. I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to hover in the 2 million range, and then eventually start to decrease slowly. It'll have its usual MMO attrition. And I think it'll happen faster than WoW had, but WoW is a special case. But Final Fantasy, even Final Fantasy 11 that lasted so long, and it ended up becoming their most profitable game. Look how long it had to run to get to that point, to become the Square Enix's most profitable property.
Wait, repeat that?
Square Enix, sorry, not their most profitable property. Apparently Final Fantasy 11 is the most profitable Final Fantasy game.
Wow.
But it's taken,
definitely.
12 years for that to happen.
Worth it, though. That's really interesting.
but
so it is all about these long
the time
investments.
the time and investment to put into that, and even Final Fantasy 11 for as long as it's lasted, I think people only mentioned or cared about it because it had the words Final Fantasy in it, and during that time, WoW dominated. It's Final Fantasy 11, okay, cool, people play it, but it's WoW. WoW is the one that had all the popular videos before it was Minecraft. It was it's WoW. All these crazy videos. You didn't play WoW. You're what's this Leroy Jenkins video? What is this Grief Wedding video? What is this dots video? All that. You didn't have to play that stuff, and you knew it as that was the YouTube before YouTube. These popular videos springing up all over the place. You didn't see that for Final Fantasy 11 or Dark Age of Camelot or any of the other MMOs that were around in the early 2000s.
The thing too, though, is they were saying, we couldn't find the fun in it. And
right.
I think they've seen you've seen so many MMOs come and splash and go. You can't just rely on the loot drip or the XP drip or any of that stuff. You have got to have a game that's going to be fun to play for hundreds of hours.
Right, and we should state this was going to be a game, an MMO, in which you have a job, and then once you're done with that job, you can go do fun RPG things.
Well, it was more. It sounded very shootery too, though.
Right. Well, the shootery part, yes, but then you have a job. You got a job.
It was they said it was the Secret World was the template that people were comparing it to. That
Well, they kind of had that as part of it. Yeah. And then the other thing, I would say, what they tried to do with the Star Wars Galaxies, right? Didn't they have sort of that? You had a specific role that you were in, and you were
you could be a bartender if you wanted to in Star Wars Galaxies.
Yeah, you'd be a dancer. They were definitely more profession-y kind of classes in Galaxies. I think I was not really surprised at the package that I got with Destiny, which is why I think one of my review scores is a little bit higher than other people. I wasn't as burnt on it because I always saw an out creatively for me to absorb the content. It wasn't what? I am so unsatisfied because I'm not getting what I want.
Sure.
I went into that game and was okay, got it. Yeah, this is how I thought, especially because I played the beta. And I was oh, there are more zones. And we're in Russian now, which means they could add the United States. They could add South America. They could add Mercury. They could add other moons, Venus, and all the, like they add other zones. And they will if this game makes a ton of money. If it doesn't, they can back away and be like, okay, and do what Blizzard did. It's like the next step. Blizzard backed away before they even got there. They were like, we're putting way too much work on this thing to just launch it. And if we launch it and nothing happens, then it's like, wow, we did more work than we've done on any of the games that we've released in the last 10 years that have all done incredibly well, and it's just too much of a risk. Whereas like that's what Activision did. They're like, we're gonna put this game out. It's gonna be enough content to basically sell the template. So we're like, it's gonna be like a month probably of Destiny. Unless you're like nuts and you can just devour that game in like a week. But it's been like 2 weeks, 3 weeks since launch. We finally got a level 30.
Yeah.
And that guy's like manic. So if you're just like one level less than that, then like 4 or 5 weeks. So they like plan a 4 or 5 week plan, and then they're like, we just got to try to meet that 5 week thing every time, which 14 has actually done a really good job of. I think it's like every 2 months you get something really cool, some awesome update or some new mode you can play around with.
And that quick turnaround for the updates, I think, is what helps a lot and is actually the key.
Yeah.
Because I think the issue is that people nowadays want to consume stuff so quickly. And maybe that's why it's so hard to sustain an MMO for so long. Like, they seem to all do well for the first month or two, and then they taper off. And it's probably because people want, the instant gratification. They want to play through a game and be done with it and move on. And MMO is like, no, you need to keep coming back. You need to keep coming back. It's a time sink. That's what they're designed to do. And I think nowadays people are like, there's too many other options. Like, I don't have time to play this for a year or 5 years or even like 6 months now is too much to ask of some people. So they want to move on. It's like, okay, next game's coming out. Like, I'm playing Destiny right now. Like, what's going on next? Oh, Assassin's Creed's coming out. Like, I gotta start playing that. I'm not gonna play Destiny anymore. I'm gonna start playing Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
And like, after that, there's gonna be Call of Duty. I'm gonna start playing Call of Duty after that. Some people. That's how some people are. They just move on from game to game. They're not gonna I think it's the shrinking audience of people that are gonna dedicate a lot of time to playing a single game experience. And that's why I think MMOs, they worked a decade ago because there weren't as many games doing that. It was like an innovative thing. Now that every game has some kind of online feature, it's just like not that special anymore. It's like,
Right.
you don't need to ask me to come back for a year. I could just play some multiplayer matches with my friends and we're cool. I don't need to spend a year.
So the thing I wanted to talk about that we're right on is that those two games, Destiny and Titan, they're all from the same company. This is all from Activision Blizzard. And what is interesting to me is I think Blizzard has really remained autonomous throughout this. I think it's pretty crazy that Blizzard was able to say, hey, Activision, we're canceling this game, don't worry about it. And like, that was okay. That was fine, you know what I mean? And I think it's cool. I think it's probably best for all of us that this game was canceled if it wasn't fun and they didn't love it.
I mean, if you're a conspiracy theorist, some people are arguing that the order came from Activision, where they're like, okay, Destiny failed, then pull the plug. Which I don't think is true because Blizzard has proved that they do this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Blizzard is, you can even look at what happened to StarCraft is kind of like the same thing about them reprioritizing, like, okay, we've been working on StarCraft 2 for a long time. We're spending a lot of money on this. It can't just be one game. Like, we're not going to make that much money back.
Sure.
But each individual game will be a little bit cooler if we split it up in 3 separate projects. Have you guys show up, give us a lot of money every time one of these come out, and then we can, use those resources. I also get, Blizzard's just one of those developers that I get the sense when I meet these guys. It's like, you play the hell out of these games that you play. Like, you really, really love your community. They came out on the stage of the Warlords of Draenor cinematic event. We're like, who's Horde? Everyone screamed. It's like, you don't get that from everybody. Like, there is like a less than half sect of the gaming industry that like really has this awesome relationship that they've fostered for so many years, so that people like love their franchises as much as they do. And it's just like, oh god, do we really want to launch like a new franchise if it's not gonna be guaranteed to be huge? Because we're doing really good right now. We got a lot of great things. We don't need World of Warcraft to be bigger than it is. Like, it has dropped in popularity, but like, it's still huge. We have this whole new content thing coming out. Hearthstone's doing great, like you were saying.
The thing is, I think they could have put out this game. I think they could have said, fine, we'll put it out. If like their bosses said, no, make this game. I think they could have made Titan, and I think Titan could have been a success. But they just didn't want that. And that's what's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I think it would have done okay at launch.
I mean, people are still crying for StarCraft Ghost, I mean, people
It would have
bought
sold.
into that concept,
Right. It would have
and they
sold.
want to play it.
And they just said, this isn't good enough. And
We
that's
saw
what's,
gameplay of
that's what's
StarCraft
incredible.
Ghost.
Yeah,
Never
that's
saw
what's
anything
incredible
for
to
this.
me. Yeah.
Which we might have been butting heads with that advertising budget. They might have been at the point where they're like, okay, how much advertising money do we want to spend on this to get the word out? to convince people that this is not just an add-on to World of Warcraft. This is a totally separate thing. Can those two games coexist at the same time? And it was just like, well, hey, look at where we are now. We haven't spent any advertising money on this whatsoever. We can completely walk away, and it's just us and our friends.
A lot of development, though. It wasn't $0.
That's the other thing. Who knows? Like, we say 7 years. It's been 7 years since we first heard that the game was in development.
Right,
but that doesn't
right.
mean that
At
for
the
7
different
years
levels.
there were 40 people sitting at a desk, slaving away, pounding coffee, drawing every, having meetings every Monday relentlessly.
that's absolutely fair, yeah.
They could have just, that's my biggest curiosity, and that's what rubs me the wrong way about Final Fantasy 15. Because it's just like, I bet a year went by where no one did anything on that game. Where literally it just sat on a shelf. And we'll never find that out. And Square will never communicate that to their audience. And I think that's the difference between a company like Blizzard and a company like Square Enix, where Blizzard's like, we can't just be weird to our audience. We have to communicate to them. We have to say, we have to be truthful about this project instead of like, we'll just do it or throw it to another director, try to fix this. They're like, let's not deal with it. We can't be good at it. We can't be as good as we want to be.
Actually, to that point, Brandon, there was an interview with Tabata, the new director of Final Fantasy 15. He just admitted that they brought him in almost 2 years ago, and he had to make what they had into a game. So,
that's a funny statement to me, because I've always looked at those things and like, how is this even close to a game? Like when they were showing the trailers and they were like, we got the suit, we got a real suit made, and all this kind of thing.
Hilarious, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think in that case, for most of those 8 years, it was probably just like, hey, I made a cool drawing. Let's put that in. Let's do it. Exactly.
And I'm not. I don't know that again because I don't work at either of these companies, so I could be totally wrong about that.
No. I think that might be true. The whole year goes by and just, I have a cool idea.
Which again, they were probably, whether this happened this year or before, and they were waiting to make the announcement. They were probably approaching that moment of okay, we need to. I was going to say shit or get off the pot. We can swear on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need to shit or get off the pot. We need to make this game or not. So
it's funny, on iTunes we have a little parental warning. So please swear, just so we earn that.
No, sorry.
Well, I put 2 dimes in the swear jar for that one.
I guess that's all we have to say about Titan. It's just, I think that is.
I am bummed. I have one more thing to say.
Yeah, please.
I love MMOs, man. I love it. I really want that. I love. We were just talking about Toy Story 2 today for a report that's going to go up this weekend. I love open worlds. I love going into a world and just exploring every last nook and cranny and just getting in there and seeing people and seeing people of different levels and express themselves with costumes and holidays and all that. It's great. It's great to live. So I'm sad when I stop playing Animal Crossing. It's just fun to have when I get tired of it. I'm just like, I got to put this down. Because it's fun to go to a world and it's like, this world kind of sucks right now. It's fun to just go someplace else. It would be almost like meditation every time I load up Azeroth and just I'm in this other place. I can just relax for 5 to 10 minutes. So it sucks that they're gonna get smaller or something. They're gonna find some happy medium between console games now and MMOs where it's like Destiny. It's it kind of feels like an MMO, but it's really just a shooter.
I think that's an interesting point. I think that's also what I kind of miss from Destiny is a place where it feels like, I'm here. Because I guess that would be the tower. And the tower doesn't feel like that kind of thing. It doesn't feel like any.
The tower feels kind of pointless to me.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's meant to be that place where you go back into and you're like, I'm home. Here I am.
And play soccer.
And we can play soccer. We can play that weird floating ball.
We all play different games, and I'm happy about that because that's the beautiful, awesome planet and industry that we live on and work in. But it wouldn't be great if we all played the same game. It would just be cool. It'd be neat if we were all into the same thing. None of us complained about it. Mm-hmm. We all just did our jobs and went home and jumped into this thing. I don't know. If any of you have read Ready Player One, it's basically what I'm talking about.
It sounds like
there's just one game. That's it.
Really?
Everybody plays it. If
That's
you made
cool.
a game, it's in that game.
Cool. Cool.
Minecraft, basically. It's what Minecraft's going to be.
Or Little Big
Minecraft's
Planet.
just going to
That's why Microsoft bought it.
Oh yeah, Little Big Planet 3 is actually coming out soon, and we haven't heard anything about it in a long time.
They've shown some stuff at TGS and at Gamescom.
Did they have it there?
Yeah.
I remember the Gamescom one. I thought that was just the same thing they had at E3. Maybe I'm wrong.
At TGS, they showed off a sweet new Solid Snake costume. Sorry, not Solid Snake. Big Boss. Punished Snake. What is his name?
Music.
Punished Snake?
Yeah.
There's Punished and there's Venom or Venomous Snake.
Oh, so it depends on which point of Metal Gear Solid 5 we're at that point, of what costume it is. But also a tank costume for the dog version of Sackboy. So why are we talking? That's the end of the show. Even that's a half hour. We did our half hour.
Yeah.
So
Did he
that-
had another topic or
On the
not?
nose.
we do, but we don't. Okay, we'll talk about it really quickly. We'll get through this really quick.
I don't know what the other topic is. so-
It was something from last week that I wanted to talk about. Guerrilla Games normally does only Killzone. They've been reportedly working on a new IP for a long time. I think they've been admitting so. And some concept art leaked on a Chinese forum, and
Okay.
it is incredible. We'll even put it on full screen. We never do this, but you need to look at this stuff. This is the concept art. It is
Oh, nice.
right. So for people listening, all we can describe it as like warriors fighting robot dinos. And the robots don't look like dinosaurs necessarily. They have very mechanical pieces to them.
It's like if Ralph McQuarrie did the art for a metal album.
Yeah,
Brandon,
I mean,
both
this
those-
is
what
like
was
a
that?
sci-fi monster hunter. Or
Ralph
something.
McQuarrie
It's pretty
designed
cool.
Star Wars, basically. He
Oh,
was
cool,
the
cool, cool.
original Star Wars.
Oh, you're right. I
concept
have
artist.
like his paintings are so crazy. You're right.
That's like a saucer head brontosaurus being taken down by samurais from the future. Mm-hmm. Yes, please.
But that's the thing, that like the people don't look very futuristic. It's almost like, it's almost like Middle Ages is being, attacked by these monsters.
So my question for this is it wrong to get excited about concept art?
No, concept art's the best.
This thing gets me really hyped. Just these images.
Right, but the game's never, ever going to be that. And the
Right,
developers know
that's
that.
why I
like,
asked.
they're not, like, they put that on the wall not because, like, this is it, guys. This is where this game needs to be. It's like, I want you to be dreaming of that all day when you're doing your job. Like, let's constantly be reaching for the stars, and, if we don't get there, then
Again, Ralph McQuarrie is his name? Ralph McQuarrie?
McQuarrie, yeah.
Yeah, also like great reference because I think that they probably put those on their walls when they're doing
Oh,
Star
yeah.
Wars. It's
Yeah.
same
No,
thing
there's some.
next
Yeah,
time.
there's some picture of Vader and Luke going at it, like from Empire Strikes Back. That's like way better than as cool as
Yeah.
that scene is. Like
Yeah.
that one piece of art is way better than anything in that film.
And I think that's it. Like this it's inspiring. It makes me excited for a new generation of video games because that's like, oh my gosh, can we do that, please? Can we please do that?
Well, do you go back and look at the original Force Unleashed, concept art? Oh my God, like
Yeah.
him just like really rough stuff, where like he'd be really, really small, and you would just see this like small figure with a giant red lightsaber, two of them, and like freaking out, throwing stormtroopers all over the place, and then like we got an okay game, kind of an interesting story.
Now you're telling me, Brandon, that it is wrong to get excited about concept art. You're telling me I should very much temper my expectations.
It's wrong to get excited about concept art if you think the quality of the concept art directly relates to the quality of the actual game.
Sure.
It all it does is relate to the pie in the sky dreams that the developers have and what their ambitions are. But those ambitions could fall flat.
Damiani, your 2 cents. Give us a.
I mean, my personal experience is that concept art can look amazing, and it does make you like, man, this game's gonna be awesome. Like I can just imagine this like world looking like this, but it usually falls woefully short of a lot of concept art. The one I'm gonna personally bring up is Epic Mickey. All that
Oh my
artwork ahead of
gosh,
time.
dude! Great reference. Yeah.
All that artwork, I was like, this is going to be so amazing.
Pretty sure
Yeah.
Jeremy Hoffman still has some of that.
And then when you got to the game, the first game wasn't bad, but like it did not come close to what that concept art was. I was like,
Yeah.
And they still kept making it. Actually,
Yeah.
like when the game launched,
Yeah.
they still kept coming out with new stuff
like,
that looked like that.
what?
You're like, stop it.
Everything looked nasty.
that was
Yeah,
like
it
the
looked
Game
so-
Informer reveal. Was all that artwork. You're
Yeah.
like, this is going to be amazing. Like this is going to be great. And that's like, I don't think that's the best way to unveil your game is to
Right.
a concept art, deluge of like information. It's like you should actually have like, some actual gameplay or screenshots.
Well,
to
I
kinda
think
temper
concept
that.
art would be fine if it was actually the direction your game was going in.
Yeah, and I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that's a difference. Like, I think this is
Yeah.
okay because this is like, who thought of that? Whereas like something like Epic Mickey's like, okay, it's Dark Mickey, got it. Like that's the thing you're doing. And then we played that game, and it was like, no, this is extremely cheerful. Even the bad guys, like, nice guy.
They're like
you know?
singing
It's
songs to you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it was, it was just not what people, like Mickey was melting, and stuff. It was
Yeah.
like, it was, very trippy. Whereas this, it's like if they don't get there, it's like, oh, okay, I at least see what you were trying to do because you just thought this up. This was there's a little bit of Dinobots in there. There's some there's obviously influences, but it's not like, oh, another one of those.
Yeah.
Saucer-headed Bronto games, like
What? Saucer-headed Bronto. Oh my gosh, saucer-headed Bronto games. Perfect.
yeah, man, Monster Hunter with saucer-headed Brontos. Yes, please, pre-order. I can't play Titan now. Might as well play this.
And yeah, I mean, to be fair, that did leak. They didn't
Yeah,
want,
it's
they didn't
not
want
like
us
they
to see
released
this
this,
stuff. But Oh man, I'm more excited for that. You know, I heard before, you know, get the team from Killzone's making an RPG. Like, okay, well, good luck, everybody. And now I'm over the top excited. And that concludes our discussions this week.
Sweet.
Blood, are you happy we snuck that in?
Yeah, I am. This is really cool.
Cool. Then, yeah, I guess we shared that with the audience too and everything. And if you are listening, you're kind of boned.
Yeah.
Just Google it. Google Guerrilla Games new IP, and I'm sure that art will appear immediately. Let's do a bet.
No prep bet. What is
No
it?
prep bet. This one's really hard. I love these. These are my favorite bets to do. Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor will be released next week.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at the 5 most recent reviews on Game Rankings. How many times will I see the word Jackson in those reviews? How many times will the word Jackson pop up in 5 most recent reviews on GameRankings.com?
Can I mean, spoiler alert, it's Peter Jackson's in the first sentence of my review.
It's like, okay.
It's a
good
very
one.
different game from
Yeah,
what
yeah,
they
yeah.
made. You
No,
know,
that's what I
like-
figured, yeah.
And I actually had to look back because I was like, God, when did Fellowship come out? You know, because like it's so weird and there's so many other characters. But the second Gollum comes out, it's like, no, it's tied in. They're
Yeah.
saying it's lore. You know, it's not circus, but they got
He's in there?
Gollum.
Is that a spoiler?
I don't think
No,
so.
they've put him in trailers.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Really
you're not
cool.
gonna put Gollum in the game and not tell people before the
Great,
game
yeah,
comes out.
okay, that's fair. So, Blood, you actually go first. You get to choose, actually, if you want to go first or last.
Oh,
Gotta rewrite that.
sure. I'll go first.
You don't have to rewrite anything.
Brandon's rewriting. I'll go with 0.
Oh, Blood took 0.
Yeah.
1. Yeah, I would say.
Oh man.
I was gonna say
Now I
0,
have to
yeah.
nail it.
Sorry, Damian.
Brandon has the power to outdo me.
I'm taking 3.
I guess it depends on where you end up on game rankings.
3 out of 5.
Yeah, 3 out of
Wow.
5 will mention the word
Alright,
Jackson.
Well, then I'm taking 4.
Wow, okay.
Oh gosh.
So if it's above that, I win.
what
it's
if
a
someone
2?
just keeps saying Jackson?
What if it's a 2?
If it's a 2, we'll have our first ever tiebreaker on GT time.
All right. Between what, the two of us?
Yeah, between the two of us.
Sweet.
Yeah, that'll be. We've never had that before.
Okay.
So let's talk about last week's bet. Last week we bet how many people would get the trophy. Oh, I forget what the name of it is. Something in the hall. The trophy for going to the Hall of Heroes in Disney Infinity.
Oh yeah.
Oh, can you remember the name of it? Oh, it's some dumb hall pun.
What the hall? The Hall Superheroes.
Yeah, but the
new
name
one.
of the trophy itself. They're always stupid puns or references. you
Oh
know?
okay. Oh right.
Who cares? The trophy you get, if you go to the Hall of Heroes, you're going to get this trophy. Only 38% of the people who've played Disney Infinity have achieved this trophy, have earned that trophy, which means that my bet of 14% is the winning bet. So I got a point, baby! It's been a while. So now I am at 6. Damiani's at 7. Brandon Jones at 2. Daniel Bloodworth, you're at 10, by the way.
Nice. Good job, Ian.
Yep, Ian got one for you. And
Can Ian replace me when I'm out?
I'm sure, yeah, absolutely. You can nominate people, substitute.
What
Ian.
if I'm like out one week and like some guy comes in a suit and slick back hair that you've never seen before? That's just like this amazing bettor from Vegas, and I'm just like, this is my guy. He doesn't know anything about video games. He's
So
just
he-
gonna stand here
He
silently
doesn't
the whole
speak
time.
until the bets.
He just nails it every time.
Jackson will be said 2 times. Fine, all right. You can do that. You may do that.
Better like a gypsy fortune teller or something. She'll just sit here and stare at a crystal ball the whole time
Wow.
and mumble to herself. and
4
just
Jacksons.
nail it.
Yeah.
Right. Brandon's not on the show for the 8th week in a row,
He's still winning.
but Madame Leota is here.
Yeah, and he's getting points. He's racking up points. Just until you catch up to Bloodworth. Anyway, everyone, as winner of the bet, I now get to plug a video and sign us off. I will plug.
Final bets?
Yeah. No. We're doing. May I announce that about how just.
No, this is going up on Thursday.
Okay, so.
You said it under your breath.
Wait,
Editorial
it's going on
reports.
Thursday?
This is going up on Thursday, right?
Or is it still going on Friday? Why did
It's
it go
going
on?
up on Thursday.
That's going up on
Oh,
Thursday.
okay.
Yeah.
You can spoil that on Friday. We are renaming editorial reports.
We're renaming
rebranding
editorial reports. The thing where we normally just talk about a game every day. We have like a video every
Absolutely
single
nothing
day.
else is changing about the show other
Yeah.
than it's gonna have a name now.
To me, it feels like we got a daily show now. So that's exciting. So
Except when
look
we're
out-
too busy, then it's not a daily show. When there's like
Sure.
5 reviews
So
to
far,
put
we
up.
have not gotten too busy, though.
Yeah, so far we've not missed
we'll
a
figure
day,
it out.
which is pretty cool. So that will be a thing that you
Thanks,
can watch
man.
every single day.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah.
You plug my show. I don't have to win these anymore. I can just slip you a 20 before the show. Hey, plug the thing on Friday.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you're gonna win.
I love it. I think that's a really cool initiative, honestly, that Game Trailers has an interesting video to see every day. I think that's actually pretty awesome.
Cool.
So
Better make them all interesting then.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Anyway, everyone, that's it for this week. Sorry it was short. It wasn't even that short in the end. Thank you for watching and listening and putting up with us. Really appreciate it. Here are our Twitter names. Blah, 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 blah. And hope to see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I love
Damiani, what's in your mug this week?
Alright.
Princess Kenny.
Don't show us.
Wow.
Well, you guys got to see what it is first
You're
to get a
right, yeah,
reaction,
yeah.
so then they can
That
see it.
was done fairly quickly.
I saw a really great Princess Kenny at PAX.
Princess Kenny.
Oh, cosplaying.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
That's pretty
couldn't tell
cool.
if it was a man or a woman. So that's a damn good costume then.
Princess Kenny is a good example of
An
RP.
anime princess.
Yeah.
Kenny hops into this role and totally absorbs it.
Have you played the South Park RPG?
Never. I just watched Damiani play.
As
through,
someone
like,
who
most
has
of
a
it.
has a serious issue with like, you know, like, am I playing someone who is a person in the game or playing another person, or are you know,
Yeah.
like toys, you just freak out whenever there's toys being played doing other things.
Mm-hmm.
I think you get a kick out of that, like just the way that they talk about the game world and like that they're
Yeah.
all pretending
But they're all committed to it.
and the parents are like kind of getting in on it too, because what
Yeah.
else are they gonna do?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
it's,
And it's in honor of South Park coming back.
This week,
right?
right?
New episode this week. Yep. I think it's already aired by the time this is.
Yeah, but that's a Viacom property. We can't talk about that.
Oh no. We can't
We
talk
don't have
about
to plug it.
No, you don't have to plug that anymore.
Oh, I like the show though.
No, it's the best. I love it. Yeah,
That was weird. Two of my favorite shows are owned by the company we used to work for.
What's your other favorite show?
Korra.
Okay.
Nickelodeon, yeah.
All right.
Well, it's not on Nickelodeon anymore.
Well, it's still,
Still
owned by
owned?
Viacom.
Okay.
And they're just only streaming it now?
Yeah, new episodes next week. I'm going to plug that if I win next week.
Yeah, Korra toy.
You
next
can't
week.
plug Korra.
Can't plug Korra.
Oh, you
He
bet.
basically just revealed he's going to have some sort of Korra
Oh,
toy.
you better be.
Well, you're not going to win because you bet 4. You said 4 out of 5
Pabu's
people
going to be
will
in
mention
your
Jackson.
mug next week.
Yeah, well, one review's going to like list 5. Like, whereas Peter Jackson's
how that
vision
works,
of the
no.
game was like this.
Not how many instances.
IGN.
Yeah, it is instances. It said, how many times will I see the word Jackson? I assumed a person would only say Jackson once in one review, but there could be like a Michael Jackson reference.
I thought you were talking about Action Jackson, but that
Yeah,
was
yeah, Action
Uh,
Jackson.
IGN
I'm
is
probably
going
gonna
to say
get
it at
this thing
least
wrong.
twice.
Okay, but it is it's random. I'm going to go to the 5 most recent at the time. Like, we're
Well, I just
recording.
gave like the first review, so.
Okay, everybody, that should be the end of the episode.